A word on Cuphead. Now, Cuphead recently was released after several years in development hell. Of course, that happens when you draw all your art by yourself and make everything essentially hand drawn and animated, which is really cool. I mean, it really, really is. It's such a cool thing. But let's talk actually about the difficulty. One of the things that's been actually chided on the game has been chided for, thank you, and that is the difficulty, how hard it is. But I really don't see it that way. Several people who know that I play the game know that I love the game. They thought I was going to hate it. They thought I was going to come up with some kind of weird hipster argument against why the game shouldn't be this or that. But the truth is that I actually like the game. I even like the difficulty. I like how hard it is. Challenges me. But again, I'm an old school kind of guy. The style of the game, however, is what actually captured my eye in the very first place. Way before the Haze Act or something law. There's something called the Haze, I think, Act, where it said that cartoons geared towards children could not depict certain things, or it couldn't show certain things or have a certain amount of certain things like sexuality, heaven and hell, religion, or heavily based religion. Anything disturbing essentially was just gone out of cartoons, and that was, I think, it was a Haze Act. I'll add an annotation here, but it was really cool because you had a very specific style of cartoon, and it was just so specific and so stylistic in the way that everything was done. They were constantly moving because they didn't want to waste a single frame. So you have things like Betty Boop, and certain of the ones like the Skeleton Dance, one of my favorite little weird cartoons. But that's just really cool, and to see somebody who took this love of this art style and the love of this old school setting, they even left out narration for the sake of you being able to do it in your own head. And I had a cool, monotone thing in my head until I saw Jacksepticeye talking in an old-timey voice like this, and it was really cool because since then I've not been able to play it without hearing that old-timey voice in my head as I play. So I think it's really, really cool. And moving on, the controls. A lot of people say the controls are contrived, or that they still lack balance, or that there's a lot of things about the game that are still broken, and I disagree. I think the game is just as good as it is. Yeah, I could use some patches because there are some things that would annoy people that are a certain type of player, such as hand-holding types of players. I notice are the ones that have the biggest issue with this. Games that hold your hand, that let you pretty much get away with almost anything and don't really punish you for making mistakes in the games. So I don't think that's true. I like this style, and people want those patches. They want the difficulty eased up, and I say no. No, not at all. Keep it just as hard as it is. Difficult, just as difficult as it is. Whatever. Now, the way that this difficulty is so good is because Ego Raptor talked about this in one of his videos called Sequelitis. The yeah, I get it effect. Essentially, this game teaches you how to play, where to go, what to do, by punishing the living shit out of you. Like, yeah, I get it. Don't go that way. Yeah, I get it. Don't hit this enemy or this will happen. Comparably, some of the games he listed were like Mega Man and Ghosts and Goblins for the NES, and Silver Surfer. Now let me tell you, I'm an old school gamer. Duh, everybody knows I'm old as shit, whatever. Ghosts and Goblins is one of the most difficult games you could ever get your hands on. And I mean this. Anybody who thinks they're a good player, even if you breezed through Cuphead, you're not going to get away with that with Ghosts and Goblins for the NES in 1985. That game is brutal. Brutal, man. Just fucking, yeah, brutal. Said it. Anybody who thinks they can hang with old schoolers, play that game first. Beat it, maybe we'll talk. Because nowadays you have YouTube, you have all sorts of mediums to get hip tips and hints on. We had going to school the next day and talking to other people who had the game. That's how we got our tips and hints. The Silver Surfer was another game for the NES that was just nigh impossible because holy shit, you think Cuphead is bad? Go look up footage of that one, the Silver Surfer game for the NES. I think actually the Angry Video Game Nerd actually did a special on this, a complete special just dedicated to this game and how insanely difficult it is. You should look it up. And once again, these are all old school games you could probably find emulators for, and I suggest you do it because once you go back and actually play some of these games, you'll understand the sadistic nature of why people like me love Cuphead. Contra is another old school one, and yes, I made this list up, and I'm putting it together in my head, and I have it down because these are games that we played. Any old school gamer, we all played these games that were difficult as a motherfucker. You could barely get through them. But there is a couple of things, like Contra it is ridiculously hard. There's a reason the Contra code is known by everybody, even if it's not, or the Konami code is known by anybody. Even if you don't ever play Contra, you know what the Konami code is. Up, up, down, down, left, right, whatever. Ninja Gaiden. Battletoads. All these games were so insanely difficult. So insanely difficult. And I think that part of the hand-holding nature of games is what's kind of destroyed this difficulty. Dark Souls is another one that's really hard, but honestly I haven't played it, so I can't comment on it. But I will say this. There is nothing that feels better than playing through one of the most difficult levels in Cuphead, or in any of, Cuphead, and hearing knockout. Just getting that knockout, getting that boss down, going through that level, and getting exactly what you wanted. Nothing feels better, and that's what this game aims for, and you get it in spades. A sense of accomplishment. You beat Call of Duty or you beat Battlefield, there's no real sense of accomplishment. It's just like, hey, I was told the story. Games like this make it hard because you are rewarded at the end with how good you feel. And I'm for it, and I want more of them, and I want the sequel to be just as hard, and I want more stuff to come out. The only criticism I have, this is the only one I have, really, honestly. Online co-op. I mean, that's not so hard to do. But maybe it'll come in a patch. I don't know. Maybe. Hopefully. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching, and thanks for being part of my little Devolite experiment. I broadcast it on Facebook. We're gonna get some use out of this thing. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.